Okay, we left off last time, and Jeremiah and God were really angry. Doo-doo-doo. They're bending bows and holding swords. He killed all the good-looking men of Judah, right? And this points to, superficiality, right? Uh, if you're judging according to the senses rather than the heart, um, you could be judging, a good-looking man well, even though he may have a bad heart. Or you could judge a good-looking man well, even though he has no ability. Right? All of his praise is false titles and false this and accident, uh, rather than ability. So this points to a superficial society. And again, this would be a false god, right? This would be a false image, right? Because you should be praising the man of ability no matter whether he's good looking or ugly. You should be praising the man with a good heart whether he's good looking or ugly. Um, and that is the false image, right? The false god. To praise a man because he has a cool look on his face and a costume, cool looking clothing, and he stands there with the cool looking pose. And yet he has no real ability. All he has is deception. Uh, all he has is privilege, or this, or that, nepotism. And this really is this is what it means to worship a false god, right? And look, I think we'll see this right here because here God's rejecting the kings and priests, and so there's many who might want to say, oh well, these Jeremiah is angry at Jews who are worshiping false gods, right? Well, no, these are kings and priests who present themselves to be accepted by the God of Moses. So these are followers of Moses that Jeremiah is angry at, or so called, right? And yet, within this society of followers of Moses, you have superficiality taking place, and that is the false god. Privilege, um, hatred, being statist. A lot of the times people use history as a way to status their hatred. And hatred is just being, oh, we need to get these guys because of 300 years ago. And a lot of the times history can be used, to cause hatred. And yet the hateful people, will throw themselves out there as with the false image, the false face of love of tribe, right? This goes back to, what would this be? MJGA, right? Make Judea great again. The greatness of a man is his love, not him beating up other men. No. He rejected the kings and the priests. He was angry and rejected them. He rejected his own altar, right? Um, do do do. He marked the wall with a measuring line. He didn't stop himself from destroying it. So by marking it with a measuring line, that means he's destroying it all, right? He rejects this whole society, because the images, the ways, the morals are not right. Boom. Jerusalem's gates have sunk into the ground. The teaching of the law has stopped, right? And this is a weird line, because the teaching of the law was going on during the time of privilege, right? But according to Jeremiah, the true teaching of the law was not being taught, right? So this is the teaching of the law has stopped, right? And that's the teaching of the law by the false priests and the false elders, false wise men. Their teachings have stopped. Her prophets no longer receive visions from the Lord, right? Now that they're defeated, uh, they shut their mouths, right? um, the elders of Zion sit on the ground. They sit on the ground and are quiet, right? No, I like this line, because, if you think about Jeremiah, Jeremiah would think a man who sits on the ground and is quiet could be a lazy bum, loser, or he could be a wise man, right? Um, the glory of a man cannot be seen with the eyes, cannot be seen with the senses, and this is what Jeremiah would believe. So when it says the elders of Zion sit on the ground, they are being condemned by their own judgments, right? Because to them, glory is something of the senses. Um, and it would not be humiliating for Jeremiah to sit on the ground and be quiet, but it would be humiliating for them to sit on the ground and be quiet. And so it's like, eye for an eye. They are being condemned by their own judgments, right? Because to them, glory was something of the senses, and they were within glory before the defeat. They pour dust on their heads, put on sackcloth. The young women of Jerusalem bow their heads to the ground in sorrow. And again, there's an attack on vanity, we would say, right? With princes and elders, right? This word elder is being used with sarcasm. Jeremiah has disgust for these men. My eyes are worn out with tears and my insides are upset. My heart feels like it has been poured on the ground. I feel this way because of the destruction of my people. Children and babies are fainting in public squares of the city. Okay, now, like I said before, Jeremiah is, really sad, but the true sadness is hidden within the text. But you can see it, and where does this sadness come from? Like, let's go back to this anger. Where is this anger coming from? Right? It's coming from a loving God. Right? So in other words, this is a God who wants Jews to delight in other Jews rather than delight in nice things. Right? That's pretty simple. This is a loving God, and Jews are allowed to delight in men and women from around the world who worship the same God, regardless of the costume. If they're good men who are men who go out there and want to master something, a craft that is admirable. The man of love is admirable. This is a God who is angry, but this anger is coming from a hurt child, right? When someone gets angry, we automatically, confront them with our ego. This is a bad reflexive reaction, but it's almost seems like a natural reaction if you're confronted, and you immediately assume that the person who is angry from an ego. And I mean, again, this is all about the heart. If someone's angry, they could be angry from the ego, but they could also be angry from a hurt heart, right? Like a woman who has been hurt by a man, right? Will go through sorrow, but she can also go through anger. And this is this is not this is not evil anger, is it? Right? It's it's almost like a despair of love, right? Because they want to love this person, but they now only feel despair. And so that's I mean, people talk about the God of the Torah being a meanie God, but I don't see a meanie God at all. This anger, I mean, this destruction is comes from the behavior itself, right? The destruction, the behavior itself is destructive, and it is the image which is blinding the fool. So I mean, Jeremiah really, I mean, there is this Jeremiah is this hurt child, right? Because he really does love his people, and he wants his people to learn. They ask their mothers, "Where is the bread and wine?" as they pour out their life in their mother's laps. My dear Jerusalem, what can I say about you? What can I compare you to? You are like, what can I say you are like? How can I comfort you? Right? So here we go with more comfort. You have been hurt much too badly for anyone to heal. Your prophets saw visions for you, but their visions were only worthless lies. And again, this hurt much too badly for anyone to heal. I don't necessarily know what's going on here, but I mean, we could think about the tribe of Benjamin, right? And what happened during the tribe of Benjamin was simple animal shepherding, right? If you have animals and the parents have bad behavior, then if you want to get good behavior, then you have to, separate the children from these bad behaving parents and raise them in a better environment, and most likely kill the parents because they're no longer needed, and they're bad behaving. So, I mean, people don't realize that about animals. I mean, animals, you can have an individual dog who is very loving. You can have an individual dog who is very narcissistic. Animals have different individual behavior. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. All right. Heal too badly. So yeah, no, that's and so I mean, you've been hurt too much to heal, for anyone to heal. That's it seems like that's what he's saying right here. This destruction is necessary for healing, right? Because the Jews have to start again in order to heal. Maybe is what he's saying. Um, Your prophet saw visions for you, and again, you can hear the visceral uh, anger that he has towards this prophet, this false prophet. But it's underneath, right? It's a spirit of worthless lies, right? Uh, they didn't speak against your sins. I mean, that's exactly what I'm saying, right? Bam, that sentence right there is exactly what I'm saying. They didn't try to make things better, right? Um, Boom, more of what I've been saying. They spoke messages for you, but they were false messages that fooled you. Those who pass by you on the road clap their hands and laugh at you. They make fun of Jerusalem, shaking their heads at the sight of her. They ask, is this the city that the people called the most beautiful city on earth, the joy of all the earth? All your enemies laugh at you. They whistle and grind their teeth at you. They say, we have swallowed them up. This is the day we were uh, hoping for. We have finally seen this happen. The Lord did what he planned to do. Okay, let's stop right there. I mean, Jeremiah is really, really rubbing salt in this, right? I mean, he's like, think about somebody who's grinding and gnashing their teeth. Like, if they're reading this and they don't like Jeremiah, then him saying this is gonna make them grind and gnash their teeth even more. Like he's aha, they're laughing at you. He's the like think about the enemies of Jeremiah, right? They're this is his audience, or not his audience, but this is part of his audience, and he's right now taking a swipe at them, to their faces. And this really, I mean, you can hear the righteous. I mean, this is a righteous man for him to be able to do this, because this is a man who knows no fear, because these lines are lines which will get him killed, right? Because these lines right here are really, really gonna piss some people off. And so he knows no fear because he is totally righteous for his God, right? And his God is a God of love. And he has invective against these these false religious people, right? Is what these false wise people as well. The Lord did what he planned to do. He did what he said he would do. He did what he commanded a long time ago. He destroyed, and he had no pity. Right? I mean, here they're crying out for pity, but he's like, nope, nope. He made your enemies happy because of what happened to you. He made your enemies strong. Cry out with all your hearts to the Lord. Jerusalem, let tears roll down your walls. Let your tears flow like a stream day and night. Don't stop crying or let your eyes dry. Get up throughout the night and cry for help. Let your sorrow pour out before the Lord like water. Lift up your hands in prayer to him. Ask him to let your children live. They are starving to death on every street corner. Look at us, Lord. Have you ever treated anyone else so badly? Is it right for women to eat their own babies? The children they have cared for? Should priests and prophets be killed in the temple of the Lord? No, no, no. No, no, no. Young men and old women have been killed. Killed anger, killed without mercy. I invited terror to come to me from all. You invited terror to come to me from all around. More terror invited it to a festival. No one escaped on the day of the Lord's anger. My enemies killed the people who I raised and brought up. Um, right, what's going on right here is again, this is more righteousness is starting to enter into this text in a very heavy way, because the Jews here are trying to get God to feel guilty. That's what's happening. They're trying to get God to feel guilty, but he's not guilty at all. He doesn't feel guilt at all. This is total righteousness. This is what righteousness looks like. Um, because the person of toxic behavior will always cry in defeat and look for homes to flee to, and they are not finding a home in the Lord. No, no, no. Okay. The meaning of suffering. Where do they get these titles from? I'm a man who has seen much trouble. God beat us with a stick, and I saw it happen. He led and brought me into the darkness, not light. He turned his hand against me. He did this again and again all day. He wore out my flesh and skin. He broke my bones. He built up bitterness and trouble against me. He surrounded me with bitterness and trouble. He put me in the dark like someone who died long ago. He shut me in so I could not get out. He put on heavy chains. Even when I cry out and ask for help, he does not listen to my prayer. He has blocked my path with stones. He has made my path crooked. He is like a bear about to attack me, like a lion. He led off my path. He tore me to pieces. Damn, he made a bow ready. I love this. This is really funny. He shot me in the stomach. I have become a joke all day long. They sing songs about me and make fun of me. He gave me poison to drink. Damn. He filled me a bitter drink. He pushed my teeth into rocky ground. I said to myself, I no longer have any hope that the Lord will help me. Remember, I am very sad. I have no home. There it is, no home, right? That's exactly what I'm saying. Remember the bitter poison that you gave me. I remember, well, all my trouble, and I'm very sad. But then I think about this and I have hope. We are still alive because the Lord's faithful love never ends. Okay, what's going on here? Um, again, we have to look at this this victimhood here thing, right? I mean, I think he's talking about himself right here, right? And he has now become the great victim, right? Um, because like again, you have the Jews complaining, but they're not, receiving any comfort from God. And now Jeremiah has turned himself into this great victim, right? And I think he's being just very silly here. Now there is something definitely going on here, and I think this goes back to that they cannot be healed. Like Jeremiah is the man that wants to heal the Jews, right? And he has racked himself with pain and sorrow for many years and decades, and but he is no longer this man of sorrow. He has become a playful little child, um, because he is like his God. He is a man of love, right? Um, I mean, we can see him making fun of people, right? This is no longer a condemnation that destroys him, right? Uh, he's just like, hey, you guys are, playing with fire, you get burned. I mean, that's just um. But yeah, no, he's really ramped up this whole victimhood thing, and it's pretty funny. But there is some seriousness to it, I think. He did go through his tower moments. And the wind agrees with me right now. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop it right there. We'll continue later.